What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. I'm so excited to be here right now because we're going to be talking about Eldritch Moon all this week. You're going to be seeing my face, or if you don't want to watch my face, it's fine. You're going to be seeing my face a lot this week because I'm going to be posting a lot of videos. I did this for Shadows over Innistrad, where basically I made a playlist, so you can check that out if you want, to, because I'm going to be making a playlist for this, and I'm going to be, talking all about, each of the colors. And just gonna be talking about some staple cards. Really wanted to start getting these videos out, but I didn't realize, or sooner, but I didn't realize that the complete spoiler came out the 8th. And then I was like, oh, okay. I didn't find out about it. Normally I'm so adamant. I check Mythic spoiler all the time. That's where I go to constantly see spoilers. But I didn't for some reason this year. I don't know why. Or this time. So we're gonna be talking about this set, and we're going to be talking, and how I basically did it for Shadows over Innistrad is I went through each of the colors and I talked about staple cards. I don't talk about how they're going to be used in other formats. I just talk about how they're going to be used, how I think they're going to be used in limited, doing draft, or doing pre-release events and things like that. So, I'm really excited for the set, personally. I really love Shadows over Innistrad. I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of the commons and uncommons are very underwhelming in this set. I'm not super excited about all of them. However, the rares and mythics, I'm really excited about a lot of them. Already some cards that I want in here for EDH. Yeah. So, let's, oh, and then, someone was talking about that for, did I say everything I want to? I think I said everything I want to. Yeah. Okay, so the first card that we're going to be talking about is Sanctifier of Souls. So I remember seeing this card and I was like, this card is nuts. I think that okay, white is probably my favorite magic color. I also really like black. It's honestly a tie between those two. So for me, I get really excited. That's what white and black is one of my favorite color combinations. I draft it all the time. Or white blue. I just do it all the time. I need to stop. I need to do other things, but it's just, I see all these good white cards and black cards and I'm like, I gotta take them. So Sanctifier of Souls is super good. So it's a 4-mana 2/3. Whenever another creature, it's not a non-token, so whenever another creature ETBs, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. So this is super good. You can do some instant speed things with this card already. You don't have to have any other synergies with this card because you can just do it on its own. You can exile target creature. And you get to put a 1/1 onto the field. Yeah, it's not Lingering Souls, but it's really, really good. I'm really excited for this card. I think it's, really awesome. I'm a huge fan of, token gen things. I think that's, one of, my favorite things. It's one of, it's a really, really good strategy. Yeah, card is really good. I'm really excited for it. Okay. Alright, so, we're gonna talk about excitement of cards. We gotta be talking about Gisela. Okay, so Gisela and Bruna came out, and I freaked out because I was like, EDH, they're going to my Angels EDH deck so fast. I gotta figure out what on earth I'm taking out. But, oh my gosh. I'm so excited for these cards. But talking about them in terms of drafting or pre-release events or whatever, sealed. I always forget that word, sealed. There we go. Gisela's 4 mana for a 4/3. That's nuts. 4 mana for a 4/3 flying is nuts. 4 mana for a 4/3 flying in first strike is crazy. 4 mana for a 4/3 flying first strike lifelink is what? What? They were like, how can we make Baneslayer Angel better? Let's put it on this card right here. And then, here's the deal with these cards, is, yes, if you somehow manage to get Gisela and Bruna, whoa, man, that's awesome. The chance of you getting that, probably not very high, probably not something that's gonna happen. So, here's the deal though, is just alone without them, it's super good just to have those stats, so if you still get her, she's gonna be really, really awesome. I'm so excited for this card. I'm so excited for this card. You guys don't understand. Okay. So, then we talk about Bruna. And basically, when you cast her, you just get something back. You get back an angel or a human to the battlefield. What? What? Like, that's nuts. And then 7 mana for a 5/7 with Flying and Vigilance is still really good, but just that ETB, like, what? You just get back something in another angel or another human? That's sweet. Like, what? Card is nuts. And then Brisela is just like, I just, how do you lose? Like, you know, if you just happen to have both of them, you get a flying first strike vigilance lifelinker. What? And then on top of that, your opponents just can't cast spells with 3 or less. I'm really, really, really excited for this card. Like, a lot. I'm really stoked. New EDH cards. How fun. Okay. Oh my god. What did I do? What did I do? I pressed buttons and then they did things. I don't know what they did. Okay. Then we have Selfish Spirit. And first off, it's 2 mana for a 2/1 with flying. Yeah, that's good. And then on top of that, you can just sack it. You can sack it at any point. You don't have to tap it and sack it, whatever. So any point your opponent's like, kill your thing or whatever, you know what? All your creatures are just going to gain indestructible. Yeah. Super, super good. I like this card. Okay. Then we have Collective Effort. I think the only thing about this card that would make it better is if it had, if it was at instant speed. So something that I think happens a lot of times when you're drafting, I think particularly when you're drafting, is you get a bunch of these cards and your curve is like super weird. And so, you know, there's a bunch of ways to build like decks in like a draft environment or whatever. I've done those. I don't have anything past 4 mana. I've done those decks before, like red beatdown, like crazy decks. Those are awesome. But I've also done like mid-range decks, and those are like some of my personal favorites in when you're drafting. Is like mid-range is just like probably just one of the best things. And what I really like about Escalate is it can be used like if you need it for 3 mana, but it can also be used if you just have a ton of mana and you don't know what to do with it. It's a really versatile card, and I really like that. So first off, it just starts target creature with power 4 or greater. Okay, cool. What if they don't have anything that's power 4 or greater? Destroy target enchantments. Okay, cool. What if they don't have enchantments? You just get to like put a +1/+1 counter on each creature. On each creature. So you're like, oh, I'm just gonna buff my team a whole bunch. Sounds good to me. I like it. Card is a really cool sort of like removal spell, but it does things other than just removal spells. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm pressing buttons and they're doing things I don't want them to. Okay. Remember when I saw this card and I was like, what? And I don't know if it's good. I honestly like don't know. I feel like it's fine. Providence. Like, you know, if you reveal it, like, I'm sorry. If you reveal it, your life total just casually becomes 6 and 26, so you just gain 6 life, you know, before the game starts. That seems pretty okay. But then, you know, if it's late in the game and your opponent forgets that you have it and they're like, ha, I'm gonna get you next turn, and you're like, brah, go up to 26. It just seems like kind of a weird card. I don't know if it's good, to be honest. I'm not too sure. I haven't decided. I think it's okay. I feel like it's fine. I don't know. I think so. Okay. Alright, then we have, do I like this card? Yeah, this card's okay. I'm not gonna talk about that card. We'll talk about this card instead. Then we have, Drogskol Shieldmate. So, I'm a huge, huge fan of, like, ambush viper creatures, like, creatures that have flash, because your opponent thinks that you have nothing, and you're like, well, guess what I do? You're like, I have this flash creature. So, it's 3 mana for a 2/3 with flash. And then, you know, your opponent thinks that, and you're like doing your whole thing, you're blocking or you're attacking or like whatever, and then your opponent blocks accordingly. And then, you know what, you ETB, and then your creatures just get +1 toughness. That's like important and really big, and I really like that a lot. I think the card's really interesting. Don't know if it's like super good, but it seems like it's really good and a really nice body. Okay, then we have Geist of the Lonely Vigil. So, if you know me, you know that I absolutely love flyers. So it's 2 mana for a 2/3 defender flyer. oh my gosh, yeah, you have my heart. So then on top of that, you know what? If you have Delirium, it just doesn't have Defender. And, like, that can or can't be relevant. Like, I feel like with some of the things with Delirium, you're like, it has to get Delirium. This card is still good without Delirium, in my opinion. It's better, of course, because then you have the option of attacking with it. But even so, like, you know, the way that you often evaluate flyers is how much is their mana cost versus how much is their power and toughness. So, for example, if you have, like, a 4-mana 3/3 flyer, that's, like, really good. So 2 mana for a, like, if it was, say, like, even a 2-mana 2/2 flyer defender flying, that would still be really good. Card is just really good. I'm excited for it. Okay. I remember seeing this card, and it honestly reminded me of, Guardians of the Gateless. And that is Give No Ground. This is a really, really cool combat trick. Something just casually gets +2/+6, like, what? Like, that's so random, I love it. And can block any number of creatures. You can just kill, like, a lot of things with this. Like, big things with this. I think the card is just really cool. It's a really cool, like, combat trick. Okay, then we have Subjugator Angel. You know, I think this card is good. You know, it's 6 mana for a 4/3 flyer, which is, like, meh, not the best, but you know what? When it ETBs, you get to tap all of your creatures. So if you're playing, like, say you're playing, like, red-white, and you're playing, like, this very aggressive strategy where you're, you know, you're trying to kill your opponent, like, quickly as possible, but that's just not working because they have, like, way too many blockers. This is a really good card to, like, do that. So you can tap all their creatures and then just, like, swing out with your other things and kill them. Card, I think, is really good. I'm really excited for it. Okay. So then we have Lone Rider, and this card flips into It That Rides as One. And basically this card starts out and it's 2 mana for a 1/1 with first strike and lifelink, which I like that already. And then, you know what, even if you don't flip it, it's kind of like, yes, it's a lot better when it's flipped, but even if you don't get the chance to flip it, if you're not on, like, that life gain strategy, I think this is still really good. So casually, you know, if you gain 3 or more life, you get to transform it into a 2 mana first strike trample lifelink. And hey, guess what? It doesn't flip back. That's really cool. Really, really cool. I'm really excited for this card. I think it's sweet. Okay, and then we have Blessed Alliance. So we talked a little bit before about Escalate. I think it's a pretty sweet mechanic and I like it. This one is instant speed, which I like. So this card synergizes actually really well with the last card we were just talking about. Target player gains 4 life. Really good. You get to untap 2 creatures, so guess what? You have blockers. It's like pseudo-vigilance. I like it. And then on top of that, you know, casually your opponent just sacks an attacking creature. Your opponent's like, I'm gonna swing with 3 creatures. You're like, okay, I'll pay like 6 mana. It's like a better version of Celestial Purge. Whoa, this card's nuts. I really, really like this card. I'm like really, really stoked for this card. I think it's gonna be really sweet. Okay, and then we have Long Road Home. I was like thinking about this card, you know, as I was filming, because I was going through each of the colors, and each of this color, and I was like, what do I want to talk about? And I saw this card, and I was like, you know what this card I think is really, really well, works really well with, is if your opponent has like a kill spell, and you're like, kill your thing, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna exile my creature in response. So not only do you get to save your creature from a removal spell, you save it from a removal spell, and then it ETBs, you know, gets a +1/+1 counter on it. So another combat trick this is really sweet with is, say your opponent is like, I'm gonna like buff my creature. And you're like, okay, cool. You know, like blockers are declared before damage is dealt. You're like, okay, cool. In response, I'm gonna Blessed Alliance, remove my creature from combat. You know, I just think like overall, I think it's like a really, it's just so you can save your creature. Works really well with ETB, you know, ETB effects. So I think that card's sweet. Then we have Desperate Sentry. So, it's a 3 mana 1/2. And when it dies, you just casually get a 3/2. Like, I'm used to, like, when something dies, you get, like, a 1/1. You get, like, a 3/2 when it dies. Okay, sweet. And then, ignoring that, just when you have Delirium, it just casually gets +3/+0. So it's a 3 mana, that turns into a 4/2. Sounds good to me. I like it. yeah, everything about this card just screams value to me. I like it a lot. Okay, and then we have Choking Restraints. So we gotta have some sort of, you know, creature removal. We talked a little bit about that before. So you enchant something and then it can't attack or block. So it's like flashback to pacifism, basically. And then, you know what, you pay a lot of mana, but you get to exile the creature, which is super good. So in total you pay, you know, 3... So, you know, you pay a lot of mana to get rid of a creature, but even if you just, like, you have it so it can't attack or block, it can't do, like, the things that it wants to do, you know, it seems really good. The card, I think, is really good. It's not the best removal by any means, but I do like it. And then we have Thraben Standard Bearer. So, it's a 1-mana 1/1. And you get to discard a card. So not only do you get to, like, synergize this super well with Delirium, you get a 1/1 on top of that. So you just discard something and then you just get a 1/1. Seems really good. Really, really good if, like, your opponent's like, you know, like, you gotta make, like, a blocker or, like, something like that. You know, it's just a really good way to do that. So, synergizes really well with, Bruna as well if you have that synergy going. That seems really good. So, yeah. Yeah, guys, that was it. That was it for, the cards that I really liked. I think that was it, actually. I feel like, I don't think I'm missing any, because on Mythic Spoiler, they did kind of like a weird thing where I think some of the, I feel like some of the things didn't get in there. I could be making it up. Was I looking? I hope I was looking at the completed spoiler, because if you scrolled all the way down, yeah, there was some things that, huh, that's weird. Yeah, there were some cards that were missing, which is super weird. I don't really know why. Yeah. But yeah, that was it. That was it for, some white cards on the set that I think are really cool. Stay tuned for the rest of the videos in this week where I talk a lot about, other Eldritch Mage cards. Let me know if you guys are stoked for the set, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.